I'll speak to you in a bit. Over.
A family was having dinner when their 7-year-old son asked a show-stopping question. "Mummy, what does virgin mean?" Well, everybody froze. It was awkward. The parents gulped, looked at each other, and the father launched into a simple explanation of sex and how it makes babies and that mummy and daddy loved each other very much, blah, blah, blah. And virgin means someone who hasn't done that. It was so awkward and weird for them trying to have a normal dinner while the conversation was a kid's first lesson in sex. When the parents had finally finished floundering their way through the ordeal, the boy said he had no more questions. He paused, quizzically looked down and frowned. He was obviously confused. He looked back up at the table where the olive oil was sitting, which was clearly marked extra virgin, and he thought, what's that got to do with it? Yep, just a little weird. I don't know if that boy could ever look at a salad dressing the same way ever again. It's funny how there are answers out there to questions no one asks, yet to the questions everyone asks, the answers often lack real clarity. So here's a straight up question for you. What is sex? Some might disagree, but it actually has very little to do with olive oil.
So just any kind of passionate touching or physical activity. Yeah, like that. A bit more passionate though. Like even dry humping and stuff like that can be considered sexual activity.
Of course that's sexual activity.
Some people don't.
It's just sex with clothes on, like they do other
Like
stuff.
to me, when I touched you then, I didn't find that sexual in any way.
I did.
like no sexual thoughts were going through my mind then.
The act of sex has traditionally been defined as the process where a male's penis is inserted into a female's vagina. But we do need to broaden that definition to define sex as any intimate genital contact, which clearly then includes homosexual sex and oral sex.
Defining sex and sexual activity is not an easy thing to do. When I'm working with high school students, I talk about sexual behaviour as opposed to sexual intercourse. Some of the areas that questions get asked about is oral sex and mutual masturbation. So I talk about those as sexual behaviour, and sexual intercourse is actually the act of sex.
My view of sex is like any form of sexual activity where both parties consent. So, in my mind, rape isn't sex.